welcome back. Andrew here with Ambient Endeavors, and today we're doing something kind of fun. I thought I'd shoot a video about one of the more kind of sentimental and unique and fun pieces of gear in my studio here. I had almost forgotten about this until I was cleaning out a storage closet in the back here and uncovered this road case. So I thought I'd roll it out into the studio here, take the cover off, and fire up what's inside of it. So what are we even looking at here? This is a Fender Champ from the late 60s. It's rehoused in a 1x12 MojoTone speaker cab with some fun customizations that I took the liberty of. A Carolina blue Telecaster job. There's actually an Ampeg style grill cloth on this one and a green jewel light cover. Just kind of some fun customizations to make it my own and to kind of give this old 6-watt amp a new life. I don't really know who or what turned me onto this idea, but there was a time, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, where I kind of was just keeping an eye out for and scouring some websites and forums and things for good deals on these 70s silverface Champs. They're a pretty ubiquitous vintage Fender model. They made a lot of them for a number of years, and so they're relatively easy to come by. And in that era, you could find these used Champs if they were in kind of rough shape, or maybe the Telex was ripped or the grill cloth was ripped or the cabinet was kind of dented up or whatever, for somewhere in the $300 to $500 range pretty regularly. And so I just for a time was finding deals on these Champs and getting them in, and then ordering some parts like the cabinet and speakers and such. Just kind of experiment and play around with customizing these amps in a larger cabinet with a bigger speaker to see how that transforms the amp overall. And what I kind of found as I was doing these projects and experimenting with slightly different cabinet sizes and speaker options is that this really brought the Champ to life in a cool way, and it kind of positioned this amp as a really great smaller club, smaller venue type amp. And in that period of time, I was playing pretty regularly in a couple Americana and kind of singer-songwriter type projects, and they were just a perfect solution for a smaller club where you wanted a full big sound, but you didn't always want to bring a 30-watt amp or a larger or louder tube amp to those venues. The larger cabinet, and especially that 12-inch speaker, just kind of brings a fullness and low-end response to the Champ circuit in a way that you just don't get with those vintage 8-inch speakers in the small box cabinets. And it's a fun amp because you can kind of ride it on the edge of breakup at, again, a pretty manageable volume. So I just kind of fell in love with using these amps both in the studio and at home as well as around town for gigs. And I actually did a summer of touring with a pair of these 1x12 Champ combos, and it was a really cool rig, really fun dynamic to kind of have one at each end of the stage and run them in stereo and not be overblown with sound or with noise. Just a really cool pairing and a really fun amp. So this isn't a sponsored video by MojoTone, but they do have some great options for these types of projects. Obviously, you can go and order a custom cabinet from them. You can customize the different appointments, the Telex and the grill cloth and things like the handle and the feet and things like that. So I was just kind of drawn to playing around with some different options, whether it just be purely aesthetic or some more functional kind of customizations there. I tried a few different speakers in these projects. This amp amp has, I think, my favorite pairing of speaker. It's a Jupiter speakers, a large magnet ceramic style speaker. It just pairs really well with the Fender circuit. I believe it's kind of a reproduction of a Jensen model. And so there's just that kind of rich, full, clean sound. You get some nice brightness in the top end, but just overall a fairly balanced sound. These amps are really nice because they're generally really easy to work on. If there's an amp tech that's worth his salt at all, he'll have worked on these before or have no problem doing it. And so I'd take it to my tech here in town, Jeff, and he would go through it, often replace some capacitors if needed, and then retube it so it's just all ready to go, and get that chassis back into the 12-inch cabinet. And it transforms this small, focused 8-inch practice amp into a really cool, gig-worthy amp. It kind of sits somewhere between a Champ and a Princeton, with elements of a Deluxe with that 12-inch speaker, and still has that single-ended small amp feel to it, just at a louder volume and just with more kind of flexibility and versatility in terms of the contexts and the styles you can play in. It also just offers a little bit more volume and headroom to play with when you're throwing effects at it, and so you can keep these amps a little bit cleaner, have them be a little bit louder from that larger speaker and larger cabinet, and throw some of your favorite wet effects at it and just enjoy some of those Fender cleans at pretty manageable volumes. So that's the story of my 1x12 Champ conversion amp. It looks really cool. I love that Carolina blue and just the vibe of the customized Champ cabinet there. It sounds really great. It always impresses me and just kind of puts a smile on my face when I plug into it. It keeps things pretty simple, but just sounds really good and sounds like a Champ, just bigger and fuller. So if you've got any questions about this specific amp or about doing that kind of conversion project, please let me know down in the comments and we can chat. I can share some of the nuggets that I've kind of gleaned from doing a number of them. Otherwise, thanks for checking out the video. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next one.